Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hello,
Hey.
hello. Okay, it's Alex and I both bringing up how you're doing today, what's making you unleashed and unstoppable. Alex, over to you.
All right. Well, we are so excited, Carol and I, who joined today with an amazing pioneer in the entrepreneur space when it comes to working with those of you that are listening who are and have the gift of neurodivergency. I think I said may have made that word up, but that's okay, because Jen, her vision, her passion, her desire, Jen and I first met in a mastermind of growing digital web agencies. Jen has been a big integral part of the growth of our agency, and just the collaborative and back and forth supporting for her with some neuro coaching and breakthroughs there, and then also her gift and strength in growing digital agencies. And so I'm so excited to bring her here today to really speak into her gift, her vision, and also a bit of her breakthrough, having experienced one of my workshops. Jen is an active member of entrepreneurial community since 2010. She founded WebClio, an advertising service company specializing in online marketing, web design. Hence why Jen and I really, came together with looking at growing web agencies. And in her role as a business mentor, Jen has inspired over 9,000 entrepreneurs, focusing on building leadership and positively impacting humanity. So welcome, Jen. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your journey, what you're up to today, and maybe the breakthrough that you experienced a few weeks ago after attending one of my workshops.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you both for having me here, and so thank you to all the audience out there listening and tuning in, because this is the core of who we are, right? We get to show up every day as who we are, and that is the real mission here. The mission for me has always been to help individuals get past shame and guilt, right? And when you look at entrepreneurs, and you look at founders, and you look at entrepreneurs too, people within businesses who are innovative and moving and thinking differently and moving structures, right? When you think of that, because we are not doing what has been done a million times, we will always second guess ourselves. So the mission is, how do we show up as who we are every single day, which is such a gift, right? Anytime you can be you is a gift to everybody, right? And that's the mission. The mission is removing shame and guilt of entrepreneurship. And definitely, I look a lot, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who have ADHD or are just neurodivergent in other ways. So my journey has been, I'm 47 years old as of this year, and just working with this, helping founders really become themselves, and then how do you get to leading, right? So I do a lot with people who are like, okay, how do I become more me, right? To where every single day is my big thing. Monday, oh my gosh, I'm so excited it's Monday. Tuesday, I'm so excited it's Tuesday. Sunday, so excited it's Sunday. Every day you can wake up and be like, oh, all right, today's the day I get to do this. Today's the day I get to hang out with these people, right? Like, living for the weekend is old school. Get rid of that. The thank God it's Friday concept out the window. Let's not do it. Like, no, every day we get to be here and we get to be us is a good day, right? So so that's the big picture mission. I work with tons of entrepreneurs on the one-to-one basis. It is pretty much where I spend all of my time, besides, of course, raising children and whatnot. And I absolutely love it. The potential, we'll talk about unleashed and unstoppable. Absolutely. right? Once we get past these barriers that are there to kind of organize society, which are great, right? We need them. I'm not saying we don't. But once we kind of get past those, then really it is our domain, right? You use the word pioneer, Alex. Absolutely. Like we get to pioneer our day, our lives every single day. Right?
Pioneer. I haven't heard that word. Have you, Alex? It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, how do you work directly with Alex? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so we work within a program, right? So, and actually, the program has evolved into Work Elevation. So, Work Elevation is a project of mine that's been around. It's been around for, I think it's like 8 or 9 years, but recently it's got a big boost, right? So, we work with an organization of a community. I believe that after human survival, right? So, food, water, shelter, all that. I believe that people need to be seen, right? That people need to belong and they need to help, right? I believe that that's what we need to really enjoy every single day, to really see and be this beauty. So Work Elevation is a community of entrepreneurs, right? That comes together on the regular every single week. We've got advisory boards within there, so you can have a smaller group, or you can be a part of the bigger group. And the advising, the mentoring is really where meet the member where they're at, meet the entrepreneur where they're at, right? The mentor, all the mentors. We have amazing mentors, amazing mentors that I've cultivated for over a decade. They come in, they meet you where you're at, and they bring you up to the next level, right? Because as we grow as humans, we might come around to the same issue over and over again. We might come around to, I need more leads. Oh, I'm not leading my team very well. But as we grow, we are always spiraling upward, right? So we might hit that issue again, but we're hitting it at a new level.
Yeah.
And so having a companion, right? I love to think of mentors as companions. Having a companion walk with you on that path to be like, hey, did you think about this? Oh, what about that?
Yeah.
Is really phenomenal and very powerful. There is no better way in my experience. I have not seen a better way to grow yourself, to scale yourself and your team than to have that trusted companion there with you.
I love that word.
So good, right? And just one more question. You mentioned that you work one-to-one with people. Have you
Yes.
thought about working in a group? Have you worked
Yes.
in a group? And
Yes.
like, walk us through what you're doing now versus working with a group.
Yeah. So we do a lot of one-on-one and we do a lot of group also.
Okay.
So basically the formula looks like this. Once a week, the whole community can come together for a specific topic, right? And we kind of formulate around a topic. We do different think tanks, we bring in speakers, right? And that's a standard, same time, same place every week, right? And then we have small groups. So I do run one, but I've got 20 mentors. So we have a lot of options there. And that is a small group of 10 or fewer entrepreneurs. Generally, we need at least 6 to make a group. And that is more like the advisory board feel of like, hey, I've got this issue, let me bring it. It's the mastermind feel. And so that is definitely at the group level. And then there is one-on-one. And one-on-one can look like a weekly 30-minute, a monthly 30-minute, or quarterly. If all you really need is to go through the strategic planning workshops, right? Which is so important for our work and our lives, is to have some sort of plan. And you don't have to stick to the plan. And you don't have to stick to the plan, but to have some sort of plan to get where you're going, to have some sort of vision, to know where you're going, especially if you have a team that you're leading, right? To have a map there. So if it's one-on-one just once a quarter, that's what you'd be reviewing is, hey, I've done my plan mentor. Can you look at it?
Well, I'd love to hear. So I got to come in as one of the think tank experts and got to do, one of my signature workshops. Can you share, Jen, what happened? Because I remember like weeks later getting this text from you and it was like, oh my goodness, your workshop. It came to fruition. And this is the power of like the neuroscience and the work that Carol and I do. And that's when I originally reached out to Jen saying, this is all the business strategy is fantastic. Now I'd love to support in closing the gap with making sure that the brain is in line with where these entrepreneurs are going. And so getting to offer this workshop a few times. But when I got that text from Jen, it was like, oh my goodness, like for her, as you heard her say, it's like 8, 9 years it's been in the works. but yet it's just completely catapulted in the past 2-3 months.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you mentioned that it was like, my workshop, who
Yes.
knows, it could have been, I want to think it is part of the catapult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say
work.
so. To rewind a little bit and to full transparency, I think it was about a year before that I had brought you on as a guest, as a subject matter expert to do your workshop, right? And I remember as I was hosting you, right? As like community leader, I was hosting you. And I remember sitting there going, oh, I wish I was doing this. Like, I would like to do this for myself, not just host, monitor the chat, be there, And so I was like, I'm going to ask if she'll come back and not do something different. Do the same thing again, please, so that I can participate. So this next time that you came back, I was very intentional of like, all right, I'll be here, right? If somebody does have a crisis, I can jump out, but I'm doing this. Like, I want to do this for myself. Yeah. And so I went through and I did it. I did it as you lead it, which is phenomenal. And by the way, this workshop is so powerful. I know at the first thought I had the first time you did it was like, oh, I wonder if I can teach this, like if I could be like licensed to teach it or something. And then I realized I'm not capable because it is so, there's a part that is so emotional. I know I wouldn't be able to do it without crying. So I have so much respect for you both. So I just want to put that out there. So the second time around, I'm doing the workshop, I'm going through it, and there's always this, okay, this is great. Oh, this is really cool. Oh, wow, look at, I'm discovering that. Oh, I'm refining this. Oh, I'm putting it into words, right? Which I'm a big fan of. If you put something into words that another human being could potentially understand, right? It's concreting that thought, that cloud that's floating around. Here we have this cloud, and now we concrete it into an actual, whatever language you want to use, but a language that other humans could potentially understand, right? So just doing that work, just that space to do that work is so phenomenal. So I get all this stuff down and it's pretty lofty, right? 25, I wanted several new offers that were 25% profit or higher, okay? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if this is possible this quarter, but let me put it down. And we went through the whole workshop and we did all the work and the alignment and the, everything that you bring to the entrepreneur sitting there. And I left that open as a tab on my computer, which I know you all do the same thing. You have many tabs open, but just know it. You don't have to tell me. I know. I left that open for a really long time. Yeah. I'd go back and look at it every now and then. And I have to say about, I don't know, let's call it like 4 or 5 weeks after, I was still like, oh, wow, I don't know if this is going to happen by the end of March, but maybe, right? Hadn't put like really big lines in the sand around it, right? And then life got really full. I stopped looking at the sheet. And I literally, and this is probably when I texted you, coming out of it, I was like, oh my gosh, it happened. Like it was like I envisioned it, and it wasn't, again, y'all, like I'm a big fan of Eisenhower said, to go into battle without a plan is sure defeat. To follow the plan when you're in battle is sure defeat, right? So we have a plan. We don't know what's around the corner. We can guess, right? We can come up with some ideas. We can say, hey, this is what we want to get out of it. This is the path we think we're going to take to get there. But if there's a lion around that corner, you best turn around.
Right.
Right? So it was not the way that I had imagined at all, right? It definitely wasn't.
So powerful.
Boy, did it happen.
Yeah.
Boy, did it happen.
And what I'm hearing is that it's that trust and surrender rate, and it's the power. I mean, Carol and I recorded multiple episodes and we lean into this because sometimes it's not about the doing, but it is important to have a really, really clear vision.
Yeah.
And, we say the why that'll make you cry. Like that's the one thing, Jen, like you're so clear in your vision and your mission. And all of a sudden things just started to pull into place. And how many times, listener, has that happened to you where you're really clear on the vision, you know exactly what it is you want. You do take time to map it out, and then life happens, right?
Yeah.
But then you start to look back. I mean, I've done this before. I think, Carol, you've done it before, right? We do our brain primes, we write out our vision primes, and then we go about it and we go back and review, and we're like, oh my goodness, this happened.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize it because life goes so busy. But this is the power of the work. I mean, this is why Carol and I are here every Thursday each week sharing this with you, because the power of the neural work and what it helps to create with the vision.
You're activating your RAS, and all of a sudden things that were hidden for you in plain sight, you're seeing them, because it's just like when you buy that new vehicle and all of a sudden you see the same model with the same color everywhere. Your RAS has been activated. So then all of a sudden your brain, unbeknownst to you, with that RAS activation, is looking for what you've fed it, what you have set an intention, that plan. And Alex, you touched on such a key part. It's not about the doing, it's about being at that level.
Yes.
That is the key. That is the absolute key, because then we're taught this model in society that you have to have stuff in order to do stuff, in order to be somebody. But the truth is that when you have your being in place, the doing flows out of it. And that's where we get rid of that hustle culture and the burnout, right, Alex? Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. I love it, because there is, I do believe that with good intention, that we are taught, the box that we're taught in is to be doers, right? To be doers and keep going, and to trust that your being and that your subconscious can sit with something without you actively scraping through your brain for it and actively like, I've got 20 to-dos on this every single day. It needs time. Like we humans need to give time, right? To give space to the power that is our brain and is our being.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that, because this is where set the intention, write it down in words, work through it, keep it in front of you. Sure. And at some point, you're going to have to let go of control around that goal, because the controlling and it's just going to keep the magic away.
It is. It does. It's so true, and then that's where we get into the burnout. That's where we get into, I'm so exhausted. I don't see anything happen. I'm not capable of manifesting. And Alex and I really lean into how we're integrated beings. And it's not, even the neuroscience is not just the nervous system. We think of it in terms of brain and thought because we're taught that a lot. It is the entire nervous system, but it's really, truly, we're integrated. It is a body, mind, soul process. Totally.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And so I definitely love the workshop and the work that you both are doing to help create more, not only awareness, but actual, like just the space of workshopping, just the space of being asked a question, and you don't have to go run and do 5 other things because you've just signed up to sit there. Right?
Yeah. Well, and the fact that, that's, I mean, the teacher in me, right? The educator in me is like, to go and just sit and listen is not really what's going to help you implement. And so that's why, Carol and I, when we do, workshops, independently, and, we've done a few together, it's like, we're getting the listener, the attendee into action, because it's getting into action that's going to create the result. And that's why even the second time we did the workshop, I asked for more space, because I wanted to make sure, which I know is sometimes a little bit different, because there are a lot of people do to come sit and listen. I mean, to have that space to really be ready to be not just a passive listener, but an active learner, right? And actually go through the process, because even if you just do that one workshop, as you saw, Jen, you will activate the reticular activating system, and you will then start to create it. And it just naturally starts to happen, because you sat down and like put right where our attention goes, energy flows. So we can put our attention on what it is that we want. We're activating a lot of the neural senses to then go out there and create it. And it becomes more top of mind versus it just being a thought in the back of the mind. And the ability, and that's what I also love, is creating the space for the hot seating. And because I remember some others coming up to me afterwards, like, oh my goodness, I took this committed action. I created this, because there's nothing like that to be able to just walk away and like get into committed action.
Yes.
Because we're like, that emotional side of creating that, right?
And it's breaking it down into those small parts. It's having this huge vision that you're meant for more, that that this is here. It's leaning into that, but by taking those small actions, those small steps that create huge results and build you and build you and build you. Yeah, it's I love what you're doing. It's so exciting to hear about this and hear about the way you're bringing experts like Alex in to do these workshops for,
Yeah.
your people who are enrolled so that they can really have a greater impact in the world.
Well, and I think like this is where it comes back to, I like to think of like we are just human and we are absolutely human, right? So
Yeah.
here's where,
We're messy.
and we're better together. We are better with other people, right? We're better. There's going to be with different ways of thinking, with different brains, right? It's going to be a way that maybe you communicating out loud is where you get all your ideas back to you. Maybe writing, maybe this idea of coming together in a workshop or being together in general in any sort of community that is growth oriented. Let's just put it that way, right? A community that understands that growth never stops, right? And that growth is necessary for us to be fulfilled. And I'm not talking about numbers here. I'm talking about who we are. Nietzsche's become yourself. That's your life mission. Continue to grow and become yourself. Right. So I think that that's what is so phenomenal when we put groups of people together and we think of this, like, how do we do this intentionally and knowing that we are going to thrive with that.
Right?
This is like, I get that people will go into a cave. I understand that. That's not when we're in motion to grow, being isolated generally for more than like a few hours, it's not generally something that I'm interested in.
Well, in that community, right? It's the exponential results. Like Jim Rohn, one of his quotes is, "You are the 5 people that you spend the most time with." And you may or may not have a family who's supportive. You may or may not be in a work community or an education community where people are in high vibe energy. When you're all in it together, working on the same goal and journey, this is one of the things I just spoke about in my masterclass. The results of that collective wisdom are exponential. It really is a whole energy that, you're speaking into. And I love this about what you're doing. It's super powerful, more powerful than we even realize, right? And there are those times when we hide in the cave, we put our oxygen masks on in that way, but having that constant ongoing support is incredible.
Yeah. And I do think, oh, sorry, Alex.
I was gonna say your work. I wanted to say that this is a great almost transition to talk about your workations, because what you've created is not just everyone working in their silos. Like I just got back from a trip in Costa Rica, and Carol, I know, has attended many in-person, masterminds and events. And this was sort of, I guess, the first real one for myself. And it's like mind blowing. Nothing. Yes, it's fantastic that we can connect through through technology and Zoom. But now that you have these workations, I mean, that just takes the whole community like to the whole next level.
Oh, I love
so
it.
I love, I mean, even I mean, there's just nothing like people getting together in person. And I know Carol's been sharing this with me as well. And I'm like, over here in Canada, right? But there definitely is nothing like what you can create in person. And so now you've got these workations and you have quite a few lined up to create opportunities globally. Globally, to be able to combine a beautiful vacation with work and getting in the rooms with those like-minded individuals and those leaders and mentors and guides and coaches to continue to up level in the business.
Absolutely. And I love this because it's one of the, I'll say, a pinnacle of my evolution as a human. When we create and craft what we want in our lives, how do we create structure around it? So one way is to declare it, right? To say it out loud, to put it on a calendar with other humans coming, right? And this is where I love to travel. And I always love to have like a something set. And I know it becomes a priority when I set it, especially with other people, right? So setting the workation to where it's like, all right, we're going to be in Barcelona. We're going to do this. Here's a rough agenda. We'll know more when we get closer, right? Like we don't have to know all the details. We know where we are going to be, right? What neighborhood we're going to be within Barcelona or wherever it might be. And that's all you really need to know to come, right? Otherwise, we're going to have an agenda. We're going to have this, and we don't have to know it way in advance, but we get to set our plane tickets and we get to get excited about it. And we get to feel, I'm going to say safe. I don't know if that's the right word, but secure in knowing that we've set a system to show up as who we are and to provide that brain food and soul food for ourselves to thrive and to really get the new ideas, the new thoughts. And sometimes it's just a small thought, sometimes it's just a spark, but we get that. So I absolutely love workations. I've been using the excuse of traveling to see members and clients around the world for years, right? And I get there and I'm like, this is so good. You know, there's no better way to open your mind than to be somewhere else, right? So you're already in the mind has gone out of autofiling and autopiloting information because you're in a different country or a different city or a different place. So you already have opened your brain to, okay, well, let's watch. The curbs might be different. You know, how to buy groceries might be different. How to speak might be different. So you're in a very open space, right? In your head and your being, and you're out of your regular autopiloted situation, which is autopiloting is great, right? Because we don't want to have to relearn how to tie our shoes every day. And so then you add that into a mastermind or a think tank or coming together and brainstorming, a whiteboarding session. And now you've multiplied the potential to accelerate and to blow the top off of things, right?
That's so incredible. I will just throw out there in case you're interested. I have a little inn where I do eco and
Oh,
nature-centered retreats down in the Andes Mountains in Chile. It's about the
really?
same as a plane flight to Europe, but
Yeah.
the time zone is a little friendlier, so you don't have that
Yes.
jet lag. And we have wineries that you can tour, German community. Um,
Amazing.
so yeah, if you want to reach out, I'd love to talk with you about that.
Yes, I would love to. Most of my team is down in Argentina, so we do go down to Argentina a lot. So
Okay.
that's right there. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're actually 2 hours from San Martin de los Andes, one of the most
Yes.
beautiful ski towns in all of Argentina.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Coming together is I mean, it marks one's life with such beautiful experience. Why
It's
not make
true.
work excuses to do it?
Workations. I love that.
Yeah.
And the way you bring in, the power of what you have in these stays and where you're going and that outside experience, and the mastermind that you're including, like, it's really incredible to hear about because, like Alex was saying, experiencing this in Costa Rica, I've
Hmm.
experienced it, and it's something that provides such great motivation to keep going, to feel seen and heard, to, learn new things, discover new things. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, so Jen, you've got your work elevation, you've got your workations, you also have work sitters. Now,
Okay.
this is like another when we
This is
talk
game
about
changing, right?
like game changing for entrepreneurs, especially those who are neurodivergent. I'd love for you to share a bit about, yeah, your like the work sitters and the vision behind work sitters. And I remember we had a conversation and you had mentioned like for some of the entrepreneurs, like the much higher level entrepreneurs that you work with, it was I'm not saying in the box, but it was a requirement because there's a certain
Yes.
point when you get to
Yes.
in your business that if you want to get to that next level, right? That we're like you talked about control before, right? We'll talk about a high achieving, right?
Yes.
Entrepreneur who is used to being fully in control of the business. We know, right? To break through that next level, it what it takes is obviously a different identity, showing up very differently, making different decisions, taking different action to create a different
Yes.
result, right? And there's a certain point in the business where that gets to take place. So I remember you said that, and that really shifted things for me because you're like, okay, if you're saying that all your like 7-figure aboves, like they're into this, it was like, okay, what is this works that are all about? I got to experience it myself. Mind blowing. I told everybody about it, and it was like, I totally get why this exists for entrepreneurs because it really is the thing that's going to help you. One, especially if you're like unsure of even how to start delegating or like unsure of even where to start, the power of working side by side with a work sitter is just a game changer.
Wow.
Yes. Love it. Okay, so I thank you for that setup, and I love that it works for you because it works so well for me. So Worksitter was officially founded in right at the beginning of COVID, and I was working with a virtual assistant who was work sitting me. And she said, "This is amazing. Can we do this for other people?" I'm like, "Of course, let's do it." And what it is it's basically a body double, a human being, a virtual assistant who comes and meets you online, says, hey, what are we going to work on today? What have you been procrastinating? What are you avoiding? What is something that the second if I were to hang up the phone right now, if I were to get off of Zoom right now, you would absolutely not do it. Okay. What could we do today together? Right. And this is where they're like, oh, I'm going to write an outline for my book. Right. I'm going to do like the stuff that's it is emotionally difficult. It is about that hard push on growth. Right. And so they sit with you for that hour, and then they literally watch you do the work.
Wow.
That's it. And I know that that's like super intimidating for some people, but they watch you do the work. I love to speak out loud what I'm doing because then it turns into an SOP, right? So say you're invoicing or something for your company still, and you're like, okay, well, I just speak through and we'll hit record. All right. The first thing I do is I go and I look up this and I see if the hours are actually correct and and then they'll create an SOP for you and say, hey, let's review this SOP together.
That's
and
incredible.
Also all the team of work sitters are VAs. So they're virtual assistants who could then be like, and I can probably do that, or I can find somebody on our team who could do that.
This
right?
is what is mind blowing. They literally will say like, hey, did you know that I can help you do this? And it's like,
yes.
I didn't even like it was, it's the feedback that you get. It just all of a sudden, talk about the control. Like you don't even have to think about the task that you could quote unquote delegate. You can have a discussion and they can like, well, I can help you do that. Let me support you with this. And then there's a full accountability because I don't know how many times, especially if you're the one with all the ideas, right? It's like, okay, we're going to start this and start this. They actually keep you accountable. So you never lose sight. You never forget of any projects you started, any ideas you might've had. Like you're getting full completion. And when it comes to like open loops, right? And in productivity and in projects, like it's very heavy to have a lot of open loops. And if you're a visionary, the reality is you that's just how your brain works, right? Or if you're neurodivergent, right? It's like bing, 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 bing. They really support you and reeling you back in and full execution on what you're, working on, vision, all that. And they turn around and say, hey, I can help you with this. And you're like,
it's like the power of getting rid of decision-making fatigue.
Exactly.
Like, And it's like, and what you're saying, Alex, too, is it keeps it safe. So here's a system. And we're going to meet at 2:00 on Tuesdays, for as long as we need. And I'm going to do this during that time. So I was just on with a client who is working on his book. And so he does a work sitter session for book writing, 1 hour a week. He does one for his biggest goal for the quarter, 1 hour a week. And he was just saying, I'm going to add one on because he needs to do all these SOP reviews. And he's bottlenecking that, but he wants the last say on all the SOPs for his very large company. And so he's like, I'm just going to book that ongoing until those are done.
Wow.
Amazing. So instead of carrying that open loop, carrying around the weight of like, I got to get those. Oh, my team is waiting for this. Oh, I've got to, this client's waiting. You just put it safe on the calendar. And another human being shows up, which I do think is critical. I've seen time and time again where people set the time on their own calendar to do something difficult, or it has some emotional tie to it, right? Something that's going to really highlight our ability to procrastinate, right? And they go, I'm going to show up because I put it on my own calendar. You're not going to show up. Like, you're not like,
the
I love you.
Procrastination can be built in, and like this is specific. And it reminds me too that like when I have this whole confluence of events like I've had recently, I'm dealing with a newborn grandbaby, and which is wonderful, but is, naturally very time consuming. It really, having somebody come in and be a work sitter is a great way to help you say no to so many great things so that you can say yes to the very best things. You can really prioritize what is going to move you forward for that vision, that dream that's in your heart. So wow.
Wow. Yeah, and it's so very concrete because you are actually meeting with someone. They have a whole template worksheet that they do with you every single time you come in. You update this and you move that and you get to work, right? So it's very, visual, and it's on the calendar, and a human's coming, right? Wow. And you've paid. I mean, it's like $13 an hour. So there are a lot of different companies that do amazing things with entrepreneurs where they go, come in and we'll do a group session. Well,
Okay.
I love that. And I know it works for some people, but for me, you put me in a group and you stop the video share and I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. It's never happened once that I did it. So group sessions of like get her done, it doesn't work for me.
Okay. That's
Unless
really
it's
great
like a
to know.
brainstorming session, right?
Yeah.
If it's a brainstorming session and we're working together, put me in a group all day long. But if
Here's
I need
what's
to get a task done, yeah.
Well, here's
Yeah.
what's other, it's like you also get to dictate, like, okay, this is going to take me about this much time. And they keep you on the
Yes.
time. So how many times, you know, do you end up going
Yes.
down a rabbit hole or something
I
like that?
love this.
And so it's like, okay, how much time do you think is going to take you? And you can renegotiate. I've done that before. Like, oh, actually, need another 5 minutes, but they'll say like 5 minutes, and you realize, right? I mean, there's nothing like time is expansive or contractive. And so this 1 hour becomes this extremely focused, like productive hour because you move all these things forward and it keeps you accountable. It's usually the things that oftentimes, right? Like as entrepreneurs, if you've built, you know, you've got a full-blown running business, 9 times out of 10, your attention gets redirected to working right in the business, not on the business growth things. And so what are the things usually, especially for entrepreneurs, that gets going last? Oftentimes the connection, the follow-ups, like the things are actually going to move the business forward. But client work, just reality.
The $10,000 an hour job versus a $10 an hour job.
Yes, exactly. And I love Work Sitter holds a special place in my heart too. They are a social enterprise. So all of the money they make gets pumped right back into their team.
I love
and
that.
They're not strictly a virtual assistant company, but most virtual assistant companies give very small portion, sometimes as low as 1/5 of the amount you're paying this is 70% right off the top, goes straight to the person you're sitting with. So it's unheard of in the industry.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of what they've done. And just knowing that me being there is providing not only exposure to a really awesome entrepreneur, which I do think I am, but this idea, you guys, there's a lot of work sitters out there who've now started their own businesses. They're like, I didn't know that this is possible, right? So they come from other parts of the world where that sort of way of thinking that we take it for advantage, that of course you can be an entrepreneur if you want to be, right? Like if that's what calls you, right? Exposure and then also that the money provided is very good for it. So it is a wonderful opportunity. I have to say, I'm a big fan. I work sit every single day.
You're right, Alex. My mind is blown.
Right. Well, I mean, and I'll admit, like I had Andrew go first. I was a little intimidated. And I think this is why I'm really passionate about sharing about this in general, right? Just about the power of that accountability, the power of knowing that, you know, you have that on the calendar, but there's just something about, you know, and no, this isn't for everybody, but in my experience, a lot of, you know, entrepreneurs like us, where when you know you have a commitment with somebody else, you're more likely to show up. Whereas when it's for you, it's so easy for things to just, it's just what happens a lot of time, right? And what's really, really cool, and I know this is how we got started, and maybe this is different, is that when you get started, it's like you start with your work center, but you also get 2 hours of VA work. So your VA on that time can say, I can now go help you with XYZ. And it can be something that you've already brought to them, which is amazing, or it can be something determined even on your call.
Wow.
Again, you're having projects move forward. And so like you said, Carol, you can get those $10 tasks off your plate. So you're spending your time in the $10,000 task and you have someone that's already there and they have a team. So if they aren't able to execute on something, there's somebody within them. And I just, you know, I've worked with a lot of like independent VAs, right? And sometimes when like there's always at a certain point where people can, you know, their knowledge or skill, whatever, right? Versus like knowing that you're always working with experts in all those areas. It's just really, I don't know, it's like it's just a lighter way of moving through work because you know you get the support and there's that accountability. And what I love is the additional thing is I don't have to be the accountability person. Like a lot of my experience previously is like, I've always got to be the driver. I mean, but it's really nice to have someone else come and be like, hey, where are we at with this project? Like, I just so appreciate that added accountability. So I don't have to remember all the 1,000 things. And the feedback on moving things forward more smoothly and effectively, like you just can't, like that's priceless, right? Being able to build those systems in place to move things forward smoothly and it not having to be you. Right. So that your brain.
Alex, where the VAs don't have capacity or capability for this level, these people that are work sitters are set up for success, for themselves as well as to amplify what you're doing and elevate it. Wow. It's like, what?
But I get now when Jen and I had the conversation, like Jen, why you're so passionate about partnering these higher level entrepreneurs with a work sitter, because now you see how much exponential growth happens because there is that the support and knowing how.
Well, and it's also like, this is, as a mentor, as an advisor, very selfishly, if I'm working with someone and they're not really moving forward, I start to feel bad. It might not be my fault at all, but if I'm going to work with somebody one-on-one, I want to get there and be excited and hear the news and this, and it might be that I failed at everything. Great. That's great, right? Like whatever, but we're moving, and I never care. Is it a little, a lot? I don't care what we've done in the week or the month, but something like, what is it that's going to feed my excitement, right? Because I'm here to inspire and to be inspired. And so I need that back and forth. So pairing them with a work sitter, it's essential, because I want those steps, those progress, because, and here's, I just want to say this clearly. I'm a big believer that we don't need to change who we fundamentally are. And when we try to fundamentally change who we are, we're just going to hit a wall. I believe that. So how can we create a system, all the better if it's with other humans that we enjoy. How do we create a system around us to support who we actually are already?
Authentically.
To show up more the way we want to be showing up.
So agree with that. Jen, it has been so amazing to have you. I feel like I could sit here for another hour easily. I know, Alex, you feel that way too. And as we're wrapping up, we want to know what can we do? What's some key advice with everything you've mentioned with your work elevation, your workations and your work sitters, to really step into being unleashed and unstoppable? And we want to know how to get in touch with you. I most definitely do. I'm in.
I love it. Gosh, that's a good question. I would say, number one, all the thoughts and doubts that pop up around, can you do this? Can you play a larger game? Is your message worthy? Is your goal worthy? Is it interesting? Like, I would say, thank yourself, your amygdala who's there to protect you. Thank you for being there. And I'm good. And I like to set those thoughts aside. I don't say they're horrible. I don't say that they're bad. I don't tell them, to never come back. They're going to always come back. But I thank them for being there, for protecting me from not going into, the mouth of a lion. And then I come back to like, okay, now where? So setting those things aside. I think that's one of the best things that I like to help people do, is like, know that, again, you are going to show up as a human being, right? Like, we are human beings, right? So you're going to show up as a human being. How do you show up more as you? So I would say, know that those things are not going away. If you have a tendency to procrastinate, it's not going to go away. Right? It is the beauty that is you, right? Like we were talking about, like ADHD, and we have all these different thoughts and all these different ideas, and ideas will never be where we, I've run out of ideas. That is not coming. And know that. How do we work with who you actually are? Right? So that's what I would say. And then as far as getting a hold of me, workelevation.com. Absolutely. There's Jen at workelevation.com email right there. Absolutely. And on that one website, the workations are a part of Work Elevation, and Work Sitters on there too, because I always want to promote and make sure that people know about them. So it's all in the same domain. And absolutely reach out. I would love to hear what people think, what they're working on, what they're struggling with. Life is a work in progress.
Oh, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen. Alex has been going, I can't wait till we have Jen on. We got to have Jen on. I was like, okay, I can't wait to meet Jen. And the way you have delivered to us today, I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such a joy to be around people who are willing to put themselves out there and be so sparky. So thank you.
All right. Ciao for now, everybody. We
Bye.
will see you soon. Have a great week and be unleashed and unstoppable.
See you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.